The next type of sampling that we have that is also a very good type of sampling, in fact this one can sometimes be better than the random sampling, is called stratified sample or stratified random sample. And what we do is break a stratified sample involves breaking your population into groups based on characteristics. A common one that we use would be ethnicity. So you would break your population into groups by, say, Hispanic, Anglo, African American, Native American, Asian descent. And so you might have, say that was 5 that I just came up with. So I might divide my population into 5 subgroups. And then I would say, well, and I know more about New Mexico because I've lived here for quite a while, but I might say, well, in New Mexico, I have about 45% Hispanic and about 45% Anglos. So in my stratified sample, I'm going to randomly choose 45% Anglos and 45% Hispanics, and then I'll divide the rest up proportionally again based on what the population is in New Mexico for each of the other ethnicities. And so maybe Native American we would have a lot more, and African American we don't have as many, and Asian we don't have as many. So we would have smaller numbers of those in our actual sample because our state is, the composition of our state is not 20% Anglo, 20% Hispanic, 20% Native American, 20% African American, and 20% Asian descent. So because there's not perfectly equal proportions for every ethnicity in New Mexico, I would not have perfectly equal proportions of each ethnicity in my sample because that would not be representative. It is representative if I have 50 say 45% Anglos, then I would have 45% Anglos in my sample. Okay, and then randomly chosen though, because that's the other part of stratified. The strata or stratum are categories or characteristics that are important to our population. If ethnicity is not an important criteria for the population that you're considering, then you wouldn't use it. But generally ethnicity is important because we have different traditions, and we have sometimes different manners of speaking, sometimes we have different cultures. So if our cultures are different, then we might respond to a particular kind of question very differently than in one ethnic group than in another. So if you're trying to find out how everyone in New Mexico feels, you really need to make sure that you have a good representation of your state in your sample.